Hello and welcome. So, what is money really? Most of us, when we think of money, think of dollar bills or coins. But if you look closely at this dollar, you'll see that it actually says it's worth $1 silver payable to the bearer on demand. It's a certificate that entitles the person that has it to go to the government and get a dollar's worth of silver. Very different from the money we use now. The money that you may have with you, American dollars, or really any dollar or paper currency or coins, isn't backed by anything. It's issued by our governments, and we believe it has value. Here's a standard definition of money. Look it up anywhere, this is what you're going to find. Money is an item or verifiable record that's generally accepted as payment for goods and services and repayment of debt. So is this money? We have a debit card, which would be connected to a bank account. No paper at all. How about the one on the right? We can see someone is swiping their smartphone with an American Express credit card to pay for goods and services. Are these money? What about these beauties on the left? Some nice big pigs. Would you accept these as payment? How about a delicious lunch? Would you trade your time or your talents for food? Are these money? Maybe. So the standard definition of money doesn't really tell the whole story, does it? Maybe we should look at it in a deeper sense, a philosophical sense of what is money. Aristotle lived a long time ago. He's a Greek philosopher and a student of Plato. Aristotle had ideas and did lots of writing and speaking on many topics, including money. So here's what Aristotle said money must be in order to be good or sound. It needs to be durable, portable, divisible, scarce, recognizable, and fungible. Many of these words probably you've seen before and they make sense. Scarce is interesting. So when you think of something that's scarce, it has a limited supply, and that keeps the value high, you might think of something like diamonds. But what if I told you that actually diamonds aren't that rare, and that the value of diamonds and their scarcity is controlled by a cartel of people who own the diamond mines all the way up to the retail stores? They keep the supply of diamonds low to keep the value of each diamond high. But that doesn't mean that it's scarce. Another interesting idea that Aristotle suggested was fungible. This is the idea that the units of the money are interchangeable. So any penny can be exchanged for any other penny, or a $1 bill that is maybe a few years old and wrinkled and worn out is still worth $1, and you could take it to a bank and they could give you a brand new $1 bill. So indistinguishable and interchangeable from one another. These, I think, are a really good way to start thinking about money. It needs to be durable, portable, divisible, scarce, recognizable, and fungible. So are these money? We've got the pigs. I've also got an image here of a giant, about 2,000 pound block of gold. And then in the bottom, you'll see that this is a wheat field where tons of wheat are being harvested. So are these money? Let's look at some examples so we can determine if they are in fact money or not. Here's gold. You've probably seen gold at least on television or YouTube, but you can buy gold, you can own gold. So it's durable, it's portable. Now you probably wouldn't want to carry around a bar of gold, but it can be made into coins, and it is scarce. It takes a lot of energy and time to locate it and to mine it out and to make it into what you and I would call gold. And is it recognizable? Yes and no. The problem with gold is that although we know the color and we have an idea, the truth is you as a human can't really distinguish if something is gold or not. So it can be faked. And also there's different purities of gold. So is it fungible? Is one gold coin worth the same as another gold coin? The answer is going to be no, or maybe sometimes. If you look at the gold coins on this slide, you'll see we have essentially the same coin, the US $1 coin. However, the one on top is very rare, and although it is the same weight as the one below it, it has a much higher value as a collector's piece. So the 1999 coin has just a value of the gold bullion itself, and the one above it, although almost exactly the same in every way, is much more scarce and rare. So the value of it is much higher. So gold is not necessarily money. How about the US dollar? This is the one that we use. We trust it. In fact, we've been brought up as Americans, especially, to believe in the value of our money. It's backed by your government. It's issued by our government or a part of your government. And so we really have a true belief. We believe in our country, whatever country you're in, and therefore we believe that the money that is issued by our governments is sound and it's good. So, is it durable? Yes. In fact, American dollars are made out of mostly cotton. That's why you can wash it and it comes out of your wash and it's okay. It's very portable. It's easily divisible. We have $100 bills down to a cent. The problem with our money is scarcity. The US government is able to print as much currency as it wants to. This is great for helping control things like inflation and unemployment and overall help with the economy of a country. But it also means that the value of each dollar is losing value. So a dollar today buys less than, a dollar tomorrow will buy less than a dollar today. We call this inflation. So it's not a perfect type of money. Is it recognizable? Yes, but just like a gold coin, and even more so, because it's paper or it's made by people, it can be reproduced, it can be replicated, it can be faked. The most faked currency on earth is the United States $20 bill. And then finally, is it fungible? Absolutely. If you look at all those newly made dollars that are about to be cut, they're all interchangeable. So US dollars, it's money, but it's not perfect. Let's take another look at money. This time, Ethereum and Bitcoin. We're talking about cryptocurrencies. Fun fact, Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and Ethereum is actually the platform that almost all other cryptocurrencies are based from. They have a lot of similarities. The biggest one is the use of blockchain technology. It's a way to make sure transactions with these cryptocurrencies are able to be verified. Blockchain technology is also really, really helpful in many other types of security. So, cryptocurrencies, are they durable? Sure. They live inside of a computer. Are they portable? Absolutely. Any digital device, you can use your cryptocurrencies, you can exchange them, you can use them to buy things. They're divisible. You can buy fractions of a Bitcoin or fractions of an Ethereum. And are they scarce? Bitcoin has a finite amount. There is only a certain amount of Bitcoin that will ever be what we call mined. That's another discussion. And Ethereum is not as rare or scarce, but certainly scarce enough that people do collect and invest with both of these. So yes, they're scarce. Recognizable, they're becoming more recognizable. And fungible, can I exchange, is one Bitcoin worth as much as another Bitcoin? Absolutely. So in a lot of ways, digital currencies or cryptocurrencies are more of money than are US dollars or things like gold and silver. However, still not perfect. So cryptocurrencies, unlike the US dollar, are not necessarily trusted or believed in by a lot of people. So here are some problems with cryptocurrencies. The biggest is that it's too new for people to understand or trust. It's not backed by a government. A lot of times people um, are skeptical of anything that is not backed by a government. And currently, people are speculating, and that is making wild changes in the value of cryptocurrencies. So, for many years, a Bitcoin was virtually had very low value, and people were using it to buy and sell things. But over time, people started to treat Bitcoin as an investment. We saw the value of one Bitcoin escalate dramatically up into, gosh, I want to say up around 60,000 US dollars for one coin. And since then, the value has fallen down to about $16,000 today in 2023. So even though cryptocurrencies do seem to fit with Aristotle's descriptions, in real life, is it money? A couple more things before I reveal what money really is. The ethics of money. So this is another side of the philosophy of money that has been, as long as there is records of humans using money, we've had some ethical issues with it. Greed. People become greedy. And what that means is people go out and try to get as much money as they can for the sake of having more money. Along with greed comes usury. That's the idea that people will lend money to other people, nothing wrong with that, unless they charge them such a really high interest rate or put regulations or stipulations on those loans that make it very difficult for people to pay back. Now we're seeing people essentially cheating other people using money. Obviously, gambling and gambling addiction, like any addiction, however, gambling addiction, you need money. So without money, it's hard to have bets. So gambling. Another, probably one of the biggest ones, is fraud. People are always looking for a way to take advantage of other people, and that plays into greed and usury and gambling. And just in general, people stealing, committing fraud is a way of tricking other people, and money makes that very easy. Finally, when you look at societies, over time, money creates very few wealthy people. Think about those that are maybe entrepreneurs and have started huge companies, and companies that have become household names are owned by very few people, or the majority shareholders of large corporations are incredibly wealthy, while on the other end, the people who work for these corporations, maybe they work at a checkout at Walmart, or maybe they drive a Coca-Cola delivery truck, these people tend to have very low amounts of wealth. So you can say that money has a lot of ethical problems, and in an overarching way, we have very few wealthy, ultra wealthy people, and many poor, or people living in poverty, up to working class people. So money has a lot of problems. But anyways, what is money really? It's not paper. It's not digital files. It's none of that stuff. It's not things we mine out of the ground. Money is trust. It's belief and faith. You can see I have from the back of all U.S. currency, we have the divine eye of providence. It's this idea that you should have belief in your government. And off on the right, you can see some guys working construction. Imagine going to work and not being able to trust or believe or have faith that the money you're going to get paid for that work is going to be worth anything. The grocery store or a supermarket is an excellent way to see all of this come together. It combines trust, belief, and faith. So if you walked into this grocery store and you wanted to purchase some of these items, they'll all be marked with prices. By the time you get to the counter to pay for them, the price will not have changed. So you can trust that your money has value. Likewise, if you were working at this store, you can trust that the money that you're earning that day while you work the checkout, in a week or two when you get paid, will still be relatively valuable. You believe that your hard work is going to be rewarded with payments and money. And because it is, that reinforces our trust in money, our belief, and our faith. So money is all of these three things. That's really what money is. So, another thing that money absolutely is, money is timeless. On the left, I have a apothecary shop where you've got the shopkeeper and some customers that are either waiting for something to be maybe filled, like a prescription, and we have the shopper who is looking at items and going to select things to purchase. On the right, you can see a little bit of an older photo, but this is Times Square in New York City. I see McDonald's, Maxell Tapes. I see plays. I see Bank of America. I see hundreds and hundreds of people, vehicles, lights, buildings. Everything that is our society is based on money. So money is timeless. As long as there's been people who've wanted to trade to make themselves better off, money has been used. Finally, and this is so important, especially if you're young or you're just really getting into the idea of economics or investing, credit, all of these things. Money is really debt. So that image on the right, this is an example of a business that essentially preys upon people who are poor. They will give you a loan, or maybe that you don't have access to a bank. You're so poor that you can't really establish a checking account at a bank because essentially you need every penny you have, to the point where you're negative. And so we have businesses that allow you to take on debt. Now, on the right, these types of establishments, I would say, are unethical. A payday loan, for example, allows you to take a very high interest loan that costs you a lot of money to pay back. And as soon as you get your paycheck, you have to pay back that loan. What it does is it creates a cycle of debt. So imagine someone is poor, they have an emergency, they need money today. They can get that money from this business, but at an incredibly high interest rate. By the time they get their paycheck, they go to repay their loan, they're essentially broke when they pay back that loan, and now, you guessed it, they need to take out another loan in order to make it till the next paycheck. So that is an example of usury, and although it may be legal, I would argue it's unethical. Debt is not a bad thing. Many people will use debt to finance a vehicle so they can get to work and earn money. You'll finance your college education. So rather than having to work and work for years to save that money, you can go get the education, borrow the money to pay for it, and then go out much more quickly in 4, 5, 6 years and start earning a higher income. The same is true with homes. So I own a home and I have a 20-year mortgage, and there's some data here to show you that when you borrow money, it's very expensive. So when it comes to money, it's belief, it's trust, it's timeless, but it's also all about debt. Another way to look at it is, if you were very, very wealthy, you wouldn't really have a need for much money. That's not exactly true, but I hope you can see that money is debt. People go to work, earn income to pay for their homes, to pay for their cars, to pay for food, to pay for electricity. So the whole idea of money is also the idea of debt. So to put it all together, what is money really? Money is trust, faith, and belief. Money is timeless. And finally, and maybe most importantly, money is debt. All of these things together, whether it's earning money, investing, borrowing money, are the cornerstones of our capitalist societies that almost all humans on Earth currently live in. I hope this was helpful for you, and drop me a comment. Let me know if you have any other questions. And until next time, take care and be careful with all that money.